everyone, it's Holly Marie King, and it is time for the Emblem Knight's Final Draft, Chapter 5. The Emblem appears. So, we left off with Yuri learning a life lesson, barely. This is a lesson to me to be a little bit more time-consuming on finishing my final drafts, because there are mistakes. Ugh. It's frustrating to me because it's like, man, I can just be more careful about it. Just frustrated. Anyway, well, let's get started. Chapter 5, the Emblem appears. Yuri was freaking out. She sat down by her tree as she tried to calm down. She looked around and then pulled her shirt up once again to look at her belly. Okay, she said, leaning her head back and putting her head down. At least I know I'm not hallucinating, she said. The same emblem that Ray had on his chest, but the one on her, the same emblem on her stomach as the one Ray had on his chest, but the one on her had pink flames instead of red. I better keep this to myself, she murmured as she smelled breakfast. She nodded to herself in determination and stood up to go back to the house. Welcome back, Ray said from the table as he ate his breakfast. Shouldn't you still be in bed for a little while longer? Yuri asked him, surprised to see him at the kitchen table. I mean, you were stabbed pretty brutally. I assured Daisuke that this is all I'm doing until at least tomorrow, so that I can actually be out of bed, Ray said with a frown. Daisuke entered the room as he put a letter in front of him. What is this? It's from the senior advisor, Daisuke said to him casually, but his face said otherwise. This has got to be horrible, Ray said, now grumpy. He read the letter, thinking it would say one thing, then looked up at Daisuke in shock. Daisuke nodded grimly. What's going on? Yuri asked, seeing the exchange of the two men. This is terrible, Ray groaned, as he covered his face with his hands. Do you two have any strange markings on your body? Daisuke asked. Yes! Are you coming up? Come on. Sorry, my cat is demanding attention because he's noisy. Don't mind the spots on him. You're getting him to the vet, getting that taken care of. He's just crazy. Yuri dropped her spoon in shock. Yes, I have one on my hand. Yes, I have one on my hand. Look, Joey said, showing his hand. Ray took the boy's wrist to look at the emblem. Yuri could see that it had purple flames. Great, kid. He dropped the boy's hand and sat back, dropping the letter on the floor. Daisuke looked at Yuri, hoping she at least didn't have one. Yuri? What? Yuri asked, standing up and backing away from the table. Do you have one? Daisuke asked her. There's no way that you two could possibly know about it. Yuri said, I only found out about it this morning. Daisuke sighed and took Yuri by the shoulders. Yuri, the children who are born in the village and don't leave receive their emblems when war is about to start, he said to her sadly. Ray kicked his chair and then winced in pain from stretching his stitches. Unbelievable! He went to the living room to calm himself down. My brother isn't ready to go to war, Yuri said to him. He's only 8 years old. 8, Ray chuckled, coming back into the room. He came to look her straight in the eye. I'm sorry, but most of us were 3 when they came for us to train for war. We had to be war ready by the time we were 7, so your brother isn't that bad off. Ray, Daisuke said with a warning note in his voice. Ray put his head back and sighed. Oh, I'm sorry, he said calmly. I really don't like this. You left the room and not wanting to talk to anyone anymore. But why my brother? Yuri asked. She was now grabbing Daisuke's shoulders. This can't be happening to him. I'm sorry, Daisuke said to her, with a sad look on his face. Yuri? That was when she fainted in his arms. This can't be happening was the last thing she said before the world went dark. Yuri woke up in her bed. Daisuke was sitting against the wall by her bed, and Ray sat in a chair next to her bed. They were side by side, looking as though someone had died. I can't believe that old coot is coming here and dragging those two into another war, Daisuke said sadly. Ray looked at the floor in dismay. It's typical of him to do something like this, he said with no emotion. At least with this happening, the rest of the guys might show up, Daisuke said to the ceiling. So that really did happen. The candle on her... Would you stop with your claws? You're driving me crazy. I can't take the claws. You and they're pumping. Can you lay down? And stop putting your claws in me. There. Put your paws like that. There you go. He's drooling. So that really did happen. The candle on her side table was throwing shadows across the walls. She looked over at the two guys. Ray moved to pat Yuri on the leg. I'm so sorry, he said to her. Yuri moved away from his hand. I'm sorry, but I just need a little bit to get used to this. We were hoping this wouldn't happen, Daisuke said to her from the floor. Oh, so were you going to tell us when they took my brother to war? Yuri yelled at them. The two men looked at the floor in shame. How about next time you tell us before we get information from someone else? No, Ray said to her. It was just something that had become a part of us. I was only 5 when they made us go to training. It has been so long since we have even stepped into this town that we simply forgot. Well, now it's a part of us, Yuri said to him, sitting up in her bed. It's not something that we thought possible, Daisuke added. Well, guess what? Yuri said angrily. It was possible, and now my little brother and I have tattoos suddenly appear on us that say we are ready to join in a war. Yuri! Daisuke shouted, making her stop talking. Look at us. We are 20 years old. When we were 5 years old, we were forced into training camps. And when we were 9, we were fighting in a war. Did you think for 1 second that the fact of the origin of where those tattoos come from? Calm down, Ray said to his friend. This is something that is hard to accept, he said, motioning for him to stop. Daisuke looked away from him. Yuri sat on the edge of her bed, put her hands in her head in her hands. Wow, I can't read now. I can't believe this. This is so unfair. Life is unfair, Daisuke said. It was strange for his usual behavior to turn so down. Forgive him. He hates the senior advisor, Ray told Yuri. In fact, we all do. But that's a story for another day. Yuri bit her lip and chose to ignore Daisuke. Do they mean anything? She asked Ray. It depends on what color flames you have and where it's located on your body, Daisuke answered, rubbing his head tiredly. Where's yours? Ray asked. And what color is it? Daisuke added. It's a pink emblem on my stomach, Yuri answered them, moving her shirt up to show them the emblem. Your emblem protects you from everything, Ray informed her. Everything? Yuri asked him. Not even a cold, Daisuke helped. That doesn't seem possible, Yuri said in disbelief. Well, it is, so get used to it, Ray said to her. So all I can do is fight off sickness? Yuri asked, a little disappointed for having such a boring ability. You have an ability, girl. Well, yeah, but you're also protected from any ability, Daisuke assured her. What about your emblem? Yuri asked Daisuke. Daisuke rolled his collar down so she could see the emblem on the side of his neck that had blue flames. I can use water, Daisuke said to her, before putting his collar back up so no one could see his emblem again. Yuri turned to Ray. What about yours? She asked. Nobody's abilities affects me, Ray answered. Plus, I have superhuman strength and I heal fast. Is that why you're walking around now? Yuri asked. He nodded. She closed her eyes, afraid to ask, what about my brother? The purple on his flames means that his music will do what he wills, and it being on his hand means that he is a musician, Ray answered. When Yuri looked confused, Daisuke elaborated on what his friend meant. Basically, if he wanted someone to die, they would die, or if he wanted them to dance, he could make them dance. Yuri opened her mouth to say something, but Daisuke interrupted her. It doesn't affect you or Ray, so I'm the only one that should be worried. I was in the neighborhood, and I heard that there was a little boy in need of teaching. A man leaned into Yuri's window, making Yuri scream. She scooted as far as she could from the man, making her fall out of bed and into Ray's lap. He was still injured, so he grunted in pain, and then hushed Yuri, calming her down. Silence fell in the room, and they waited, but the grandfather and Joey seemed to still be asleep. Yuri, this is our friend John, Daisuke said to Yuri. He's a friend, so you can stop screaming, Ray said to Yuri, with his hand over her mouth. So, will you please stop screaming? Yuri nodded, not making a sound. He let go of her. I'm sorry, he added as she moved away from him. Hello, Yuri said to John, keeping her distance from the window. Are you hungry? I'm sure the three of you have a lot to talk about. I am pretty hungry, John answered her. I'm sure, Yuri said back to him. Would you please get away from my window now? Yeah, he disappeared. John's actually one of my favorite characters. I can't do him justice. He's supposed to be like the funny guy of the group, but I'm not very funny, obviously, in my writing. So chapter 6, we get to meet the senior advisor. Don't ask me why his name is the senior advisor. It was just the name I came up with for him. Look at the cute little Rookie eyes with his cute little face. Come here. Show everyone a cute little baby Rookie. I assure you he's purring. Anyway, I will leave it in the description below if you are interested in buying the book to the website that you can buy it. If you do, great. If not, I'm not too worried about it. But yeah, anyway, hopefully I will see you guys next time. Bye!